Good morning. Welcome, everyone. Today is Tuesday, July 29th. This is a regular meeting of the Los Angeles Board of Police Commissioners. Before we call the roll, I'd like to take a moment of silence in memory of Kat Talbot, who passed away just this last week. I'm sure the chief will have more to say, but let's take a moment of silence in her respect and memory. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Good morning. Let the record reflect Commissioner Soboroff, Figueroa Villa, Kim, and Saltzman are present, and we have a quorum. Number one on the agenda is the election of officers. This item has been continued to our next meeting, but we do have one public comment card. We have Mr. Ted Hayes.
Morning.
Thank you. You may recall I spoke against the election of the current president. I wish to recall that comment. Mr. Soboroff has shown myself and all those I've mentioned about his behavior, his activities, and his pursuit in the department to be an excellent president. One which I've never seen before. I was here a long time ago. And none of the presidents were as active and as Mr. Soboroff has proven to be. So I'd like to commend him and also suggest that the rest of the commissioners vote for him as president. Thank you.
Thank you. Item number two on the agenda, commission comments.
I'm speechless, so no comment. Rep?
No, I don't have any comments this morning. Thank you.
Just
In the microphone.
for the record, I just wanted to commend the chief and his staff. Ella Brada, I was at a conference, a national Council of La Raza, which brings out all the nonprofits that are doing work in community nationwide, and LAPD was well represented, very well organized. Lots of resources were there from LAPD, so I wanted to thank the chief and his staff. It was really 10,000 people were there, and I heard nothing but great comments that we were well represented, so thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Saltzman.
I'm sorry, I do have one comment. I wanted to thank the department for its prompt and effective response over the last week in response to a tragic murder near the USC campus. The department's working relationship with USC and the USC Department of Public Safety is extraordinary, and it was the partnership that brought about a quick response the department was able to provide, and I want to thank everyone for that.
Thank you. And item number three, report of the Chief of Police, Chief Beck.
Good morning, Commissioners, and thank you, Commissioner Saltzman, for recognizing the great work of not only the South Bureau, but the police officers in West Bureau who initially effected the arrest of the homicide suspects in that case. It was good, solid police work, and that was aided by the partnerships and technology that SC has put in place. I also want to thank Commissioner Soboroff for recognizing Kat Talbot. Kat was a mainstay at Rampart Division. She is and was a tremendous police officer, a great training officer who will be sorely missed. Rampart Division, I know as being the former captain there, and starting my career there as a young recruit, is a very, very much a family. Always has been, always will be, and I know that the loss of one of those family members is significant to that command and to the department as a whole. There'll be memorial services for her probably in October. She has a large extended family in New York and the state of Washington, many of who I met over the weekend at the hospital, and they plan to bring everybody in for that service. So Godspeed, Kat, and you will be greatly missed. My normal report on crime. We continue to struggle with some categories of violent crime, primarily aggravated assaults. We have almost a 15% increase compared to last year. To put that in perspective, though, it is still below 2011 levels, and if you go back to 2010, it's almost 30% below those levels. So, we measure crime in very short time periods relative to long-term trends. So that always has to be put in perspective, and I say that whether I'm talking about increases or decreases. Homicides are down in the city of Los Angeles, which is an incredibly good thing. Down about 9% compared to last year, which you all remember it was our lowest homicide rate since the mid-'60s. Down 14.5% compared to 2012. We have seen a modest increase in rapes. Much of that is driven by the new rape coding that we have adopted per the UCR guidelines. As you all know, the FBI expanded the definition of rape, which was long overdue, and because of that kind of affects our numerics when compared to last year. Robberies down in the city, 5.1%, 16% compared to 2012. Total violent crime shows an increase compared to last year of 4.8%. Compared to 2012, it is down 4.2%. So again, it's important to look at these things over some period of time. Property crime is down across the board in the city of Los Angeles, a total of 6.6%. When you combine property and violent, you get the aggregate, which is Part 1 crime, and that is down 4.6% as compared to last year, and 8.5% as compared to 2012. Victims shot, down 15.7%. Number of shots fired reported in the city, down 10%. All four of our bureaus show a Part 1 crime reduction. Gang crime, total gang crime is down 14% in the city. Gang homicides down 19% compared to last year. Categorical uses of force are down significantly this year compared to last year, about 40%. And officer-involved shootings are down this year compared to last, 44%. Traffic collisions, we remain in total about even with last year, 1.8% increase. That's in total traffic collisions. Traffic collisions that have alcohol involved, we're down about 9.9%. General hit and runs, down about 5.3%. And hit and runs with a fatal result, down 20%. Motor vehicle versus pedestrians are down 3%, and bicycle involved traffic accidents are down 14.5%. Sworn personnel, 9,921. Civilian personnel, 2,752. Level 1 reserves, 267. Level 2s, 21. Levels 3s, 133. Specialist volunteers, 372. Chaplains, we have 64. And we have 5,447 cadets in the program. And we started a class of almost 1,000 this past week.
Wow.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you. We do have one public comment card. We have Mr. Ted Hayes.
The LAPD has a sordid history when it comes to deployment. At one time, the deployment was based upon property values. If you lived in a wealthy neighborhood, you had excellent police protection. So the police department currently is cooking the books on deployment. And I don't know why, but the source of this information is kind of astonishing. And deployment is very useful. I would believe, perhaps, the police department believes that the kind of statistics that the chief provides has something to do with police deployment and activities in neighborhoods. And our neighborhood is not getting well treated, my neighborhood. And so I really hope that somehow this business about deployment The numbers of officers who are active on the streets at every shift is thoroughly investigated, and the truth be told, if it can't be done any better, so be it. If it can be improved, that's what we're looking forward to. Now, as far as investigation is concerned, unfortunately, some other police agencies are taking up the same behavior as the LAPD. They're taking far too long to investigate situations. That highway patrol incident on the 10 freeway is still under investigation. I guess they saw a blue car go by and they want to find out who was in that blue car. Maybe they can contribute some information on the beating of that woman on the freeway. But you can understand that myself, when I'm arrested, they've got 72 hours to file charges, otherwise they have to let me go. But the police department can take months to do an investigation, not 72 hours.
Thank you. Item number 4, report of the Executive Director. Ms. Vega.
I have no report this morning.
Thank you. Item number 5, report of the Inspector General. Mr. Rogan.
No report this morning. Mr. Bustamante should be returning next week.
Thank you. Item number 6 is information and filed items. Item number 7, presentations. Do we have any presentations?
Yes, we do. We have Detective Tom Butler. If you can come up, please.
All right, Tom.
The members of the Los Angeles Police Commission salute you upon your retirement after more than 31 years of devoted service to people of the City of Los Angeles and the Los Angeles Police Department. You joined the Los Angeles Police Department in 1983, and upon completion of recruit training, you began your career in Northeast area, moving and promoting throughout the department. Where do you go? You worked jail division, Rampart area, background section, Human Resources Bureau, Personnel and Training Bureau as a police officer 2, Recruitment Division as a police officer 3, and Southeast Area and Commission Investigation Division as a detective 1. In Commission Investigation Division, you became an expert in the tow industry and the laws pertaining to tow operations in the City of Los Angeles. You provided countless hours of training and department personnel on tow operations related to both the department-sanctioned official police garage tow operators and then independently owned tow operators. On behalf of the men and women of the Los Angeles Police Department, we thank you for your outstanding service and true dedication to the City of Los Angeles. Congratulations to you and your wife, Diane, as you both complete outstanding careers in law enforcement. We wish you all the best in your retirement and future endeavors in beautiful New Mexico.
You want to say anything to the fan club out there?
Can't believe 31 years is here. Today's the I know, no crying.
Take some time. You can reconsider. You don't have to retire. We need that. We should give certificates for people who don't retire, not certificates for people who retire.
It's the last day. I'll probably wear the uniform of the Los Angeles Police Department. And I think tomorrow when I turn this in, reality will hit. But it's been a great 31 years. I thank the department for being good to me and my family. My wife couldn't make it today because she's taking care of my daughter who's expecting our first grandson.
Wonderful.
I'm glad I had in this time, I've been able to work for 5 chiefs, 3 interims. I can call him Charlie now. Charlie was my lieutenant. And police commission brought me in 16 years ago. And that, I've been with 5 commissions, 3 executive directors, and 6 lieutenants. So, it's been really great. I've seen the good of the department, the bad, and the sadness, especially this year with the amount of officers we lost, and God bless their souls. But I'm going to miss the camaraderie, the good times we had, and if people say, there's life after LAPD, yes, there is, but there's a lot of memories. And now it's time for my wife and I to start our second career. Enjoy it with the granddaughters and see what the United States of I'm an American has to show us out there. We love our road trips. I want to thank the department, the LAPD family and friends that during the years here, my wife and I had some serious illnesses, and you were there for us. And without your support, we couldn't rebound that quick. And I thank you all for that, and I thank it from my wife. That's why we're here today and able to retire, because of your support. God bless you, and I'm going to miss you. I'll just say start the filibuster.
Chief, do you want to say a few words?
Once in a while you have a couple of good hires, when Tommy came to work for the police commission 16 years ago, he was a great hire. And, he's been a good friend, great supporter. I know his heartbeat bleeds blue just like mine does. And, remember, you can always come back. A little reserve program going on here.
That's what Ben says here. Where's your bench?
I'm sure Ben could use you, a little help once in a while.
Yes, sir.
And you know what? It's just a different phase.
That's right.
You're not leaving us behind. You're just moving chairs a little bit.
That's it.
And we love you, brother.
Thank you very much.
Come on in, you guys. Do you want this chair moved?
Yeah.
Thank you. That's clear the deck didn't stand up the rest of the time. Oh, he's standing.
Okay, 2 more. Thank you.
Want to give another speech? Your speech is so good.
That was the filibuster. It'll be the first one. Thank you very much, man. Thank you. Thank you. And again, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're now on item number 8, consent agenda items. These items are considered to be routine and non-controversial, upon which the board is provided with adequate information for approval without inquiry or discussion. Would a commissioner wish to pull an item as special for discussion, 8A through 8J?
I'd like to discuss both 8B and 8C. I would move approval of items 8A, D, E, F, G, H, I, J.
I'll second with thanks to all of those contributions, large and small. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we will begin with item 8B, Department's report dated July 18, 2014, relative to the donation of 8 college scholarships valued at $10,000 from the Los Angeles Police Foundation for the benefit of the Los Angeles Police Department Cadet Program.
I held this just because I wanted to draw attention, again, as the chief did in his comments, to the extraordinary continued success of the cadet program, and to thank the department officers and staff who are doing that under Chief Pasinger, and of course to thank the Police Foundation for the support. And I move approval of item 8B.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We'll go to item 8C, Department's report dated July 18, 2014, relative to the donation of the funding to install digital in-car video system cameras in patrol vehicles valued at $1 million from the Los Angeles Police Foundation for the benefit of the Los Angeles Police Department.
I held this item just to make sure it didn't go without notice, that the Police Foundation is donating $1 million to support installation of the digital in-car video system, a very important part of the department's response under the consent decree. And I want to thank personally the Police Foundation for the support and the department for its implementation of the program. And I move approval of item 8C.
A second, but a comment. Chief, would you sort of bring us up to speed on how this $1 million was used to sort of complete the funding? Because this phase of the camera, of the in-car cameras for this bureau, I think was close to $10 million, correct?
It was, and you know, being our first beta test, obviously there were a number of things that had to be done and redone in the program, and I know that Maggie and Danny are going to come up and they can address that, because I think that you're going to call their item special. But what I think is really important, or probably needs some note, is that the Police Foundation money is a very scarce resource to the Los Angeles Police Department. It is the only funding that we have that is discretionary to the department. And so when we pick things that we spend the money on, we pick things that are really important to us. And to take $1 million out of our only program that allows us to buy things outside of the budget and spend it on an item says a lot about the values of the organization. And it says a lot about what we think of in-car video and what we think its value is, not only to the Los Angeles Police Department, but to the city of Los Angeles. So, you know, I know that there are, any road has a number of bumps and a number of ups and downs, and we've certainly had those in in-car video. But if anybody doubts the department's commitment to this and to the concept of constitutional policing that it embodies, I think there's a million reasons right here to rethink that.
Chief, where did the other money for this phase come from? So there
We
were
had-
$9 million additional.
We had regular budget money. We had some money that came from, I believe, a small grant, but the primary source of it was through our normal budget process.
Great. Okay, we had a motion and a second. Any other comments?
We have none.
All in favor? Aye. Aye. Wonderful.
Okay, we are now on item number 9, regular agenda items. 9A has been pulled from the agenda. 9B is a verbal presentation. Would a commissioner wish to call a special 9C or 9D?
Approval of items 9C and 9D.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you. We will go to item
9B.
9B, Department's verbal presentation and update relative to the on-body cameras and Operations Central Bureau digital in-car video system.
Welcome. Hi, Dan. Oh, we got
Good
a
morning. So yes, you've noticed our male models over here on the left-hand side. At the last commission briefing on body-worn cameras, we were asked if we could bring examples of what those systems look like. So that's why these two officers are here, and I'll let Dan go ahead and speak to that.
Great, thank you again. So we did bring 3 of the different systems that we're wearing. I'm actually wearing one of them. What's on my chest here, it's called the VIVU system. This is the one that's currently in Central right now with the Safer City Initiative officers. We have 32 of them deployed out in the field. It's a very simple device that sits on your uniform. There's a slide button here to turn it on. You simply slide it down, and it is actually recording now. It's recording both video and audio. It's real obvious that it's on. You've got the green button showing that it's on. On the top, there's a green indicator light that also shows that it's on for myself. And to turn it off, I simply slide it up, and the system is off. Very simple to operate. Officer Stover, he is wearing our Axon Flex camera. This was the Taser product that we used. It's Flex because it has a flexible mounting option. He's wearing the sunglass mount with it. He can simply take it off and put it onto his collar. So if you were to go from, say, an inside environment and he wanted to take off his glasses, or if he was uncomfortable with the glasses, or if he had the dark shades on, he could switch it depending on the lighting conditions and comfort level. So that's why it's called the Axon Flex. That camera actually records everything on that little camera itself, and the battery pack is, he has it on his back, and that's where he turns it on and off. He simply pushes it twice, it turns off, he pushes and holds it, and then it turns off. So this is the one that we did in our first 90-day trial. This product is complete. And our third device is Officer Jin Ho, is...
You can record that, and you'll know that he made a mistake.
So he's wearing also the Axon, this is called the Axon Body. So it's very similar to the one that I'm wearing, but this is a Taser product. It works essentially the same as the Axon Flex, but it doesn't have any additional cords to it. It simply has a camera that's located at the top of that box, and same process, 2 taps to turn it on, 1 tap and hold to turn it off. It captures both video and audio. Everything is self-contained in that unit. The 2 units that the 2 officers are demonstrating for you, they simply go back to the station, they drop it into a small device which automatically uploads the video into our cloud storage, and then they have immediate access to the video. The device that I'm wearing, it works off the same system as our in-car video works off of. I simply plug in a USB device to it, plug it into the computer after I log in, and I upload it directly into our on-premise storage, which is exactly like our in-car video, and I view it like I normally would view in-car video. Again, that becomes immediately accessible to the officers during their shift so that they can view it. Access to the video and review is all based on your rank and your supervisor and all the privileges that go along with each one of your access, the authority that you have based on your position. Very, very simple system. We wanted to make sure that you could visually see what they were doing. Again, the one that I'm wearing is the one that currently is in the field today.
And both of the other models have already completed testing? you
Yes, ma'am.
stated?
Both of them had been deployed. They were part of our first 90-day trial. We did about 15 of each of them with the officers out in the field. So again, approximately 30 of them we sent out.
And have those results been analyzed, or do you have any preliminary findings regarding comparisons?
So for each of them, what we've done is every 30 days we go and do touch points with the officers. So we did 3 touch points with the system that they're wearing. We're about 45 days into our second deployment of the one I'm wearing. We did our first 30-day touch point. We're reserving a comparison till we've gotten through all 90 days of this one, and then we'll come back with a complete report.
So based on the timeline that you're working on, you still have a way to go. You're going to be evaluating. You're going to be deciding, making a decision. We're going to be ordering the units. You will be training officers to use those. When do you think that they will be? When will they be at the beginning of the implementation? And then how long will it take from the beginning of the implementation? There's 600 units, I think, to full implementation of the 600 units.
I think at this point it's difficult to give you an exact time frame. Depending on which technology we choose, there are different technology tasks that will need to be completed, technical tasks, in order to implement them. Looking at each station, determining, for example, basic things like, are there available network ports to connect the cradles, that type of thing. So there's a lot of technical tasks and analysis that have to go into whichever solution we choose. So we will need some time for that. I would say safely, if you're kind of putting me on the spot and asking me to name a time frame, which I think you are, I would say we're probably looking at realistically like a January deployment, I would say, because we have to get through this, we have to make the selection, come back with that report. We also have to complete meet and confer. We have started discussions with the league in that regard. We're actually in meet and confer on 2 topics at the same time, both body worn and in-car video. So there's a lot of moving pieces in that. So we will need some time, and I think we'll at least need the fall for that. There will also be lead time, obviously, on ordering all of the equipment once we make the selection. In that regard, we have continued the discussions. We had another meeting with the ACLU regarding any concerns they might have on body-worn. A lot of discussions there around privacy and related items. We also are proceeding with the community survey. There will be an online survey made available. We've been working with Professor Jeff Branningham at UCLA, who's a professor of anthropology there. And he also met with the ACLU to go through a list of proposed questions for that survey. So I received your feedback. We'll be incorporating that and then be making that available online probably in the next 2 weeks or so. I'll be working with media relations to get that posted on lapdonline.org.
Will there be recommended amendments to the in-car policy as a result of the new on-body policy?
Not
I mean,
necessarily.
They're a little bit different.
Yeah, they're different.
Yeah.
So it will be 2 policies. The reason we're also back at the table discussing in-car video is because originally when we deployed in-car video in South Bureau, there was an order published specifically for the South Bureau implementation, which was deemed a pilot at that time. Now that we're going to be in Central Bureau as well, we need to make sure we have one policy department-wide, not just specific to South Bureau. So that's why we're back to having that discussion. And since that pilot started in South Bureau obviously had a lot of lessons learned, some of their own notices that they published in regard to the use, auditing, et cetera. We've had quite a bit of feedback from the Inspector General. So we want to take all of that, incorporate it into one department policy for in-car video department-wide.
I know that there are a number of other large cities in America and around the world really watching the analysis and what you guys are doing. What have you learned? I mean, it's only been, let's see, September, October. It's only been 10 months. So have you? Has anything surprised you about this process, or your opinions about the validity, or do people change their behavior when the cameras are on?
I think a couple things we can share. In the meetings we've had with Employee Relations and the Police Protective League, they have asked a few people from Central who have volunteered for the body-worn pilot to come in and just provide input into their experience so far. We had a couple officers come in and talk about how it really helped them in a couple situations, how they were able to get entire discussions with people on video. So I think in one instance there was an example given of a potential complaint on the part of the person on the other side of that camera, and they're very quickly able to view the video and determine the validity of that, and in that case that it really helped the officer. There was another example where a situation was escalating in the front desk area of the station. An individual had come in somewhat escalated, and once they were notified that they were being recorded, the situation very quickly de-escalated. So, so far, a lot of the feedback we've received has been quite positive and really helped the officers.
Go ahead.
I just have one other question. Did the ACLU raise any other civilian rights concerns outside of those related to privacy?
That's their primary issues they've raised is really just around who will have rights to the video.
Okay.
How it will be managed and maintained, and obviously all of that would go into a policy.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, just around privacy issues in general,
So
as far as how video might have access to it, and how
So-
it will be treated. Really, it's been the primary topic of discussion.
I see. So who would have access to the video, and then also what will be videotaped?
In other words, when they go on, when they go off?
Correct, yeah. So maybe the standard of discretion that's used for when the video is turned on and off, or when officers, go to the private homes of individuals, and the scope of what's videotaped and what's not. Are those the kinds of concerns that they raised?
We've had those discussions. I don't want to speak on behalf of the ACLU
I was just
or
curious.
express their opinion here. I'm sure Peter Bevering would be happy to come comment, but my understanding is that they are in favor of recording as much police contact as possible, and where there's a legal right to be engaging with somebody, whether it be on the street or in their home, they are in favor of recording as much as possible.
They've done a white paper on this topic.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Thanks.
Mr. President, I just wanted to make sure I understand our process. So the department suggesting that the implementation may be in January. So I just want to make sure I understand that between now and then, we will have at least one, maybe a series of public hearings on this, the policies we're just talking about, the access, decisions about on and off, and
The policy will come to us, correct?
Correct. The policy will be come to commission. The Inspector General has been in the meetings where we've has always sent a representative to the meetings where we're discussing the policy now. But we'll come back with a full report, both on the recommendation and then ultimately on the policy.
And that would happen before the kind of implementation you were talking about?
Correct.
Great, thank you.
A question for Dan. So the technology in the last year, is it moving? Is it still moving? Do you see big changes in the next couple of years? I know that part of our negotiation with the vendor would be a free technology upgrade if technology moves faster than the wearing out of the cameras. But what do you see happening?
Yeah, absolutely. So technology is always moving. That is an absolute given. And I have one of the best jobs on the department because I get to see all that technology as it comes. So in the short term, there's incremental changes. I think a lot of what you've seen in terms of movement in the technology, specifically around body-worn, is actually coming directly from feedback that they're getting from our officers and from our section specific.
Can you give me an example?
So one of the things that we looked at is, how the microphones are positioned on the devices, some of the feedback that we're getting from wind noise and things like that. Also on mountings. Mountings are a big deal because the number one complaint we get from officers is how they wear it, where they put it, how it affects how they wear it on their uniform, the cords that are associated with it. So all those are specific things that we give to the vendor that they in turn then take and change. So Officer Stover, who's wearing the glass mounted, one of the things early on in the testing is it was a solid piece of wire essentially. Well, we asked them to put a little coil. You see it in a lot of the Secret Service guys have the little coil on it, but that was making a big difference in terms of the officers and when they turned their head, so it wasn't always tugging or yanking off the glass. Very slight improvement. The vendor was very quick to understand the reason why, accept our that it was a valid request, and instantly implemented. As you can see, it's now on his device itself. So we are making small changes, incremental changes within it. I think over time, you'll see that the wearable technology is a huge item right now, whether you're talking about smartwatches and all the things that are coming. Those are all just being incorporated. The big thing that we're looking for that I think will really change the devices, the size, is once the battery technology catches up with the rest of the technology. That is really the only limitation today because the hard drives, all the technical components that go with it are doing very well. It's the batteries that need to catch up with the technology. Once that happens, I think you'll see a big leap into smaller devices, which would be very helpful to the officers.
And the device that you're wearing is self-contained? There isn't anything else on your belt, battery,
Wires?
wires?
This is it, sir. This is self-contained. It's got the battery, the hard drive, the camera in it. Everything is self-contained.
Great, thank you.
And same thing with your body worn? No wires, no nothing. Great.
And then, I don't know if the item includes your discussion of where we are on the in-car video system. I don't know if you had a chance to talk about that.
Thank you. The in-car video implementation in, I think there was a typo in the agenda as published as South Bureau, but it's actually Central Bureau where the implementation is ongoing. The implementation there is proceeding on track. The hardware, all the servers and storage infrastructure has been installed in each of the stations and also at Central Storage in City Hall East. We're now beginning the installation of the cameras in the vehicles themselves. So we're starting in Central area. We've begun that installation. Everything's still on track to have the system go live by the end of the calendar year.
Thank you.
We do have one public comment card on this item. We have Mr. Ted Hayes.
I hope I didn't miss any of the presentation that prompts me to misspeak, but drop the camera in a box. I would suggest there be a form that the officer can check that there's been a significant incident, and that camera would be inspected promptly and looked at promptly, because this is a lot of stuff to go through just by visual analysis of every camera that comes in. That's enormous. Who would do, what battery people would do that kind of thing? The other thing is whether or not the officer can ask for a particular review of what took place. Do they have access to it at their request? I don't know whether anyone indicated what the recording time might be. I didn't hear that. And one more gadget. It doesn't go under Sam Brown, but there's one more gadget to be checked out, confirmed to be active and working well, and then turned in as active and working well. But the most important thing is what kind of investigation and perusal of these tapes are going to take place. It seems like you'd have to have an entire staff of many, many people to review these things each time, unless, of course, the officer indicates there's something worthy of inspecting that they're concerned about, or whatever. Rather than having a complaint leveled against the officer, some proactive activity as far as looking at these tapes to go forward. Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Thanks for your time again.
Thank you.
Very helpful.
Okay, we are now on item number 10, public comment. We have 3 comment cards. We have Ted Hayes, followed by Mr. Juarez and Terrence Gomez.
Oh, 10.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about the investigations. I had an incident on 2 occasions to be at the Metropolitan Detention Center at 77th Street, and each instance was exactly the same. I was taken out of the general population and placed in a, they call it segregation, and I was not fed at either one of these locations, and the consequences, the results physically for me were exactly the same. I passed out. The first time I passed out, it was on a bus coming back from the hospital where the police department had taken me because they realized they hadn't fed me, and so they took me to the hospital to get a soft diet. I got a diet, I came back, got on a bus, I threw up the diet, and I passed out on the bus. Paramedics can verify that. The second incident, 77th Street, I was at the holding cell at the Wall Street traffic court, and I passed out. Paramedics took me to the hospital once again. Now, that's been many, many, many months. It's very simple. You didn't beat the guy, you put him in an isolation cell, and each time you knew what the result would be. This old man is going to pass out. Perhaps he'll strike his head, hurt himself, whatever. But nevertheless, all the communications I've gotten so far have been undated. They don't indicate the date of the incident. They don't indicate the date they sent the letter. There are no dates on these things because that's the problem. These things take so long that they don't want to date it and indicate what the chronology might be. So if you can make sure that Internal Affairs dates the communications, that would be welcome. Thank you.
Mr. Juarez?
Good morning, police commissioners. I want to remember Mr. Branton. They present Mr. Branton November 5, 2002, and they call my name Mr. Juarez, and I say, congratulations for the new police chief. I wish you the best of luck, chief. But before you start with the gang member, you better start with your own gang. When they say, do me a favor, chief, go back to New York because you never will control the gangster with uniform that kill boys and babies like Devin Brown and Susie Peña. Next time I say, please, Yankee, go home, don't come back no more. This time the chief answered me and said, I don't want to stay too long. And when we quit in last presentation, I say, vaya con Dios with the Yankees in New York. Now you next, chief. In January 15, this year, 2014, I tell the chief, slow down with the homeless of downtown because their lives are very, very sad. They live between the trash, and you send the police officer, cold-blood killers on the horses to chasing them, and you are blocking the Constitution of the United States of America. Yeah, 36 years waiting for justice. What is the justice? 3 times police brutality on me. Border Patrol sent me to the desert de la muerte with my green card in my pocket. And I received a letter from Justice Department through the office of Barbara Boxer that says there is no federal violation, but I'm pretty sure that was and any time will be attempted murder. 36 years waiting for justice. Please, police commissioners, wake up. And 3 times police brutality on me, but they can't stop me. And I remember because in 1970, Vernon police put me in a police car. They go in front of me, and I get in from the car, and I notice when the handcuffs, puro Pedro Navajas. Thank you.
Mr. Terrence Gomez?
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Terrence Gomes. I'm the president of the Los Angeles Neighborhood Council Coalition, which is the coalition of 95 neighborhood councils. Our mandate from the charter is that we're a conduit between City Council and stakeholders, and we're to weigh on important issues that come before whether any of the city commissions or the City Council. And the one that's currently, well, not today, but before you, is the reappointment of Chief Beck for 5 years. It was a tough decision because the motion that we're having this Saturday is whether we support or not support the 5 more years of Chief Beck. Part of the problem is that we've had to cull all of our answers from the newspapers because since April we've asked the chief to come to our meetings and he has not. We've asked his office numerous times and he has not come at all. And it's kind of distressing because he believes in community policing but he doesn't come out to the community. And some of the things we've been looking at is the multi-million dollars of lawsuits, not of police brutality, but because of internal lawsuits by officers internally. Those are one of the issues we're looking at, what it costs the taxpayer. Also, like I said earlier, what was about community policing itself. If he doesn't come out to the community, how is he supposed to do community policing? So we're going to be looking at it this Saturday. I just wanted to let you know what we were doing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And that is the final comment card. We will now go to item number 11, closed session items. The Board of Police Commissioners will now recess into closed session to discuss item numbers 11A and 11B in accordance with Government Code 54957.